Now listen, this would be one of those nights that my brain can't go to sleep. I mean, my mind is racing and it's all over the place, so I have no other choice but to tell a story. I've told y'all before that when I'm like this, that means my sister is on my mind. So I might as well go ahead and talk to y'all about what's going on with me with my sister on my mind. So it's story time. This particular story, we was at my mom's house, of course. We was on Mary King's. And see, we was all teenagers and stuff. But see, Mary King's house wasn't the spot, but everybody would hang out on my mom's porch because my mom's porch is right in the center of a street. And the cars has to come down and they would see us. Now the boys would come by the house and they would honk the horn or try to holler at us because it always was a porch full of girls. Now keep in mind, my mom still, this is around the time that the grass house was across the street, and my mom believed that we all had cramps and we was going to my stepdad's truck to go and, relieve the cramps with, whatever. Okay, but anywho, well, this particular day, we had all jumped in my stepdad's truck, and we was all in there, and we had did whatever we did, and we went back on the porch. So we was all laughing. You already know Thunderbird was on the porch. Okay, well, these girls had moved across the street. They had this half a double. Now the girls across the street, they was a little bit older than what we was, but for some reason they didn't like us. We didn't know why they didn't like us, but we knew that they didn't, and this is how we knew. Now, one particular day, the one girl came out the house and she was standing on her porch. Now, these was the kind of girls that had the drug dealer boyfriends, had the nice cars and all this other stuff, and jewelry and all this other stuff, and they kept their hair done. Now, these girls was cute or whatever, but we was average Joes, you know what I'm saying? My mom had a job, and we had a job. We're all working at McDonald's and this and that and the other, but we kept ourselves together because Mary King wasn't having it. So this one particular time, this girl, not only did she come out her house, but she came across the street and walked past, and she was like that. And see, it caught Margaret's eye first because the guy that Margaret was messing with lived next door to her. Margaret decided to go and spend time with the guy that was across the street. So by them living in a half a double, Margaret could hear everything that was going on in their house. Margaret would come across the street and she would tell us stuff like they were arguing and this, that, and the third, or whatever. Now, we never associated with these girls, but the girls was like haters or whatever, but they really wasn't haters. I can't call them a hater. I can call them like self-centered. Excuse me. But anyway, Margaret ran across the street. She was like, Monica. She was like, get everybody off the porch. She was like, something get ready to go on across the street. I'm like, what's going on? She was like, I don't know. She was like, but it's a lot going on. She said, because these dudes is in the back of these girls' house. Now, keep in mind, we never talked to these girls. These girls never talked to us. Whenever we seen them, they would have the rolling eyes and stuff like this. But we never talked to these girls. Now, keep in mind, these girls had kids. They had like 1 or 2 kids apiece or whatever the case may be. We never tried to figure it out. Well, anyway, the one girl, she was kind of older. She had like a small waist, big butt, or whatever the case may be. Her dude was like an ass kicker. Like when I say he kicked her butt every day, he kicked her butt every day, every way, all around the corner, all down the street or whatever. Now, he had been fighting her this one particular day. She put him out. Now, even though the girls didn't like us, Margaret knew that something was going to go on across the street. Margaret came across the street again and she was like, hey, something getting ready to go on bad. She was like, because it's a bunch of cars parked in back of these girls' house. Now, they didn't know what was going on because they was not in the back of the girls' house. They wasn't in the back. They was in the front on the porch with the music loud. But everybody was kicking it. It was like the weekend or whatever the case would be. They should have been paying attention, but they wasn't. So this is what happened. All of a sudden, this dude took his car and came around it was like an empty lot on the side of the half a double that they lived in. He took his car and he came all the way around the house through the empty lot and parked in the front of the steps so they couldn't get off the porch. When they got ready, when the fight broke out, this is what happened. He jumped out the car. When he jumped out the car, his friends jumped out the car. They started fighting these girls for no reason. I mean, it was horrible. Now, by them fighting these girls, it was like maybe about 6 of us on the porch. We looking at this stuff unfold. They got kids in the house, so my mom comes outside. She's like, go across the street, try to get them kids out the house. This was a bad fight. So once me, Monique, and Margaret and the other girls that we had on the porch start running across the street, we tried to jump in the fight to try to help the girls. Don't you know that these girls turned around and tried to fight us because we was trying to fight the dudes that it was just not realizing what was going on. These girls is steadily trying to get at us because we trying to help them with these dudes. All they was thinking was that we was trying to mess around with these dudes. No, we wasn't. We was trying to help them. So we started mixing it up with them. They was mixing it up with us, but the dudes was still fighting them. The one girl that I was telling you about with the little waist with the big butt or whatever the case be, she ran in the house. She ran in the house and got a pot off of the stove. When she got a pot off of the stove, it was boiling hot water. And the reason why I know it was boiling hot water because she was spilling the water running through the house and you could see like the smoke or whatever the case would be. So she threw it out inside the crowd. When she threw it in the crowd, it hit the dude that she was messing with that came over there to fight her. Now, keep in mind, we still mixing it up with her sisters them. They mixing it up with them. They calling us names. We trying to figure out what's going on. My mom, by this time, is pissed off. So my mom comes running across the street to try to get us from over there. She like, fuck them, fuck them bitches, let them do what they got to do. Now, we started heading back across the street. Now, keep in mind, the one girl got on the phone and she called her cousins them to come over there to try to jump us because we jumped the dudes that was jumping them. It was a mess. So at the end of the day, once we got it back across the street, all these cars pulled up across the street. And the girls that got out the car across the street, all you could hear them on the porch was like, and these bitches across the street call themselves getting in there. The girls came across the street to try to fight us. My mom, on the other hand, she wasn't going. Y'all already know Mary King wasn't going. So when the girls start coming across the street, my mom told them, she said, once you cross that street and you get in front of my house, the game changes for y'all. Now, it was still only 6 of us, and it was like maybe about 10 of them. So these girls was older than us. Monique was the oldest one on the porch. So I kept thinking to myself, they is going to try to jump my mom. They're going to try to jump my mom. This is when I knew that my mom wasn't going. This girl came across the street. Now, keep in mind, my mom had to be like in her late 30s, early 40s when this particular situation went on. The girl came across the street talking her stuff and this. My mom just hauled off. And when I say she slapped the shit out of this girl, she slapped her so hard, her gun flew out her motherfucking mouth. It was going down. Mary King wasn't going. So when my mom slapped the girl, I could not believe that my mom hit this girl like she did. When my mom smacked the girl grabbed my mom. Once she grabbed my mom, that brought us off the porch. It was on again. But by this time, the dudes that had been coming down the street trying to holler at us, they seen what was going on in front of our house. They jumped out the car. So this made round 2 of this fight. Y'all have to realize that nobody was paying attention to Margaret. Margaret was on the porch when all this went on. So it was me, Monique, and the other girls, and it was 2 people still left on the porch, which was Margaret and her friend. Margaret ran through my mom's house, out her back door. But when she ran out the back door, Margaret called, and she went and got a kitchen knife. When she went and got the kitchen knife, we didn't know Margaret was doing this. Margaret ran out the back door, ran around to the side of my mom's house, and she cut the water hose in half. When she cut the water hose in half, she took the end that had the metal piece on it. She was holding it in her hand. The fight, we was all mixed up, and this. All we heard was whack 'em. Margaret just swung this damn water hose and started whacking people with this water hose. Margaret didn't have a long piece of water hose. She had like a midway piece of water hose. So Margaret is whacking us like we was, I don't know what, Margaret was whacking everybody. She hit us. She hit the girls. She was just whacking across the face. Margaret was whacking crazy. Okay, so by this time, Margaret then kind of broke the fight up because Margaret not just hitting them, she hitting us because we mixed it up with them. Margaret is hitting everybody with this water hose. Now, the dudes then separated us and Margaret in the water hose. We over here. The girls that went back across the street. Now, the girls that went back across the street, the dude, remember I told you, she hit him with the water. She threw the hot water on the guy. By this time, this guy is so furious. When I tell you, he grabbed this girl and he threw her off of her porch, and they started fighting. It was a whole mess. By this time, somebody, I don't know who it was. We're not going to say it was the little lady that was next door to them. We're going to say it was the little lady next door to them. called the police. When they called the police, Margaret had hit everybody with this water hose. And when the police came, Margaret was sitting on the porch. Me and Monique was in the house trying to make sure that my mom was okay. The police came and the girl and the dude had went to jail. When the girl and the dude went to jail, the dude's friends broke into the girl's house across the street that had started to fight. Remember, I told y'all they was messing around with drug dealers or whatever the case may be. They broke into this girl's house, stole all her clothes, and started selling them around the corner. And we knew that these was this girl's clothes. Margaret was so mad at these girls because they had turned on us because we was trying to help them, but they thought we was trying to mess around with their dudes or whatever the case may be. The dudes was selling their property around the corner. Margaret started buying these girls' clothes. Listen, this was the funniest shit I had ever seen in my life. Margaret is a G. Maybe about a week later, they started moving out of that house, that house across the street, because the dude had went to jail. Now, by them moving out, these girls never knew where their clothes and stuff was. They knew that they were selling them because everybody had like a little piece of their clothes. Me and Monique wasn't their sass, but Margaret was. So when I tell you that this particular day, Margaret waited on the porch until she saw all the girls put their stuff into a U-Haul. So when they was putting their stuff into a U-Haul, I will never forget this. Margaret went out my mom's back door, came around to the front, and walked on the sidewalk where the girls were at. Across the street from our house. She was on our side of the street. But Margaret walked around the corner with this girl's clothes on, and this girl knew that that was her outfit Margaret had on. Not only did Margaret have on the entire outfit, but she had the purse to match. When I tell you I love my sister, I do. See, these girls didn't have no reason to not like us because we never would bother them. We was much younger than what they was. But we went across the street to try to help them. They thought that we was on some other stuff, but we never was. So when the dude went into their house, he didn't just sell her clothes. He sold her couch, her chairs, and all this other stuff. But see, Margaret didn't buy all the girls' clothes. She just brought the brand new clothes that the girl had already bought because the dude had bought them for her. He made it clear that these was the clothes that he bought and he wanted his stuff back. So I think that they was just like, I don't know. They didn't like us. Even after they moved, they would drive past our house and call us names and stuff like this. But the whole time, they was more mad at Margaret because every day that they saw Margaret had on their sister's clothes. I still love my sister.